Good morning, everybody. It's welcome to our next edition of the Hindu Made Easy. Today is Monday, that's 17th July. Let us start with our headlines of the Hindu. The major headline, top headline is government sets up new panel to review all official data. Basically, a new standing committee on statistics have been given a major, more heft and power and ideas to go into. New standing committee on statistics has a broader mandate to review framework and results of all NSO surveys. NSO is National Statistics Office surveys, and as we know that Vivek Debroy, who is the chief of the Economic Advisory Council to the Prime Minister, was skeptical about the 2019 survey, and they have junked the basket of consumption pattern data that they have taken into consideration, saying that it's incomplete. So now a new standing committee on statistics has come out with a major segment, and it is being headed by Pranav Sen, who was the former chairman of National Statistical Commission. And another news in the front page is that the Arvind Kejriwal's party, who was unwilling and all, having certain issues regarding that. Now Congress has assured that it will help regarding the opposing of the ordinance regarding Delhi bill. So AAP has agreed to further go into opposition meets. And next one is that panel wants Kuno Cheetah to undergo medical review. Kuno Cheetah a Project Cheetah that was from the Africa. The brought cheetah were brought, and Kuno National Park in Madhya Pradesh, they were relocated, and number of them has died. And now it's a recent death of a cheetah led to the introspection that what went wrong and what was the source of infection. And one of the probable reason they sought is that radio collaring system that has led to infection or abrasion and further infection that led to the death of cheetah. But it is not confirmed, because Indian Forest Department is in a long tradition of radio collaring tigers, lions, and never such an incident had occurred regarding that radio collar abrasion and consequently leading to infection and death of the. So the committee is looking after the reasons why it has happened, and they want to survey in detail hygienic conditions and all. Now we come to our the spotlight section. Mainly today's spotlight section deals with the price rise, especially vegetable and consumption, day-to-day consumption goods, the price rising, and that led to middle class houses having prioritizing their spending on, because now for a small household is a big amount is eaten by tomatoes and other costly products items. And it's a case study of Tamil Nadu. They have quoted different wholesale price index, CPI and other regions, and what are the regions, monsoon and heavy rainfall in certain areas and things like that. Other issues is regarding the warehousing and all. So please read this article for just an idea of the things. Local issues are being discussed, Tamil Nadu especially in case. Now we have, we'll discuss the editorial pages. So all the 4 articles in the editorial page is very important today. First one is that 2 editorial that we discuss, Hindu editorial, official editorial that we call, that we there's something special. It relates with the India-France 25 years friendship between India and France, and very respecting each other's strategic autonomy and friendship it has been, and their horizon 2014 has been set up, under which military, nuclear, submarine, Rafale Marine was being signed when a recent visit of Prime Minister to the Paris on their 14th July, that is Bastille Day. It was the chief guest. Prime Minister Narendra Modi was the chief guest at the Bastille Day parade, and where our tri-services given participated in it. So it says that our relationship with France is something special, different from all other European countries. and we don't interfere in each other's internal affairs or India's condition like that. France has never criticized India's buying of Russian oil or regarding anything that is internal affairs of India, whereas India has also not succumbed to the issues that are being recently. There was a major riot in France over the death of a teenager, but still no such things. India respect each other's you could say strategic autonomy, and we have a long-term goal of helping each other in defense studies and all. So it's a good relationship. And the another one is flood fuel. The second editorial article, that's flood fuel, is basically it deals with the recent flooding of Delhi. Okay, our Red Fort was visited by Yamuna River. They said that no, Delhi has no flood, inundation and floods and like that. Yamuna never floods because there is no water and things like that. But recently Yamuna River visited Delhi, and you know that lots of construction has been made on the Yamuna floodplains. That has led to aggravating of the situation, wherein even after rainfall subsided, water was still there. Supreme Court of India, Lal Killa, Red Fort were still inundated. So it say what are the reasons that led to this condition, that it say that this flood situation can be handled only like air pollution of Delhi. As you know that how it was handled by collaboration of NC and National Capital Region, Haryana, UP government and Delhi. So it says that for a long-term measure of getting rid of this sort of inundation of the major heart of Delhi, they should have a flood. They should end the flood fear and come together and constitute measures that will lead to cleaning of the Yamuna silt and the desilting of the drainage system and other things, and what are the major obstacles that led to the jamming of waters in the city of areas. Then we have in the editorial main section that we have two articles. One is by C.P. Chandrasekhar, India's conglomerates are getting too big for comfort. Another one is the Ukraine counter-offensive, a reality check. First let me finish the Ukraine counter-offensive, a reality check. The second editorial, then will come for that one. So it says about the Ukraine counter-offensive. It's written by Krishnan Srinivasan, a foreign secretary. Is a former foreign secretary, who says that counter-offensive means what were the measures taken by Ukraine to defeat Russia or to Russian invasion and things like that. So it says that it has started in June itself, but the results are not so worthy to. That's why Western media went shy on it. No publicity, no mention of it. That Ukraine's counter-offensive measures against Russia, what happened to that one? It flopped virtually. It did not make any dent in 1,000 kilometer long Russian army's cordoning of the areas and forward areas being encroached on. They thought the first offensive that Ukraine made was that to reach the Sea of Azov, that will cut the Russia of its access to Crimea. You know that Crimea was earlier annexed by Russia from Ukraine itself. Now they say that, but as Russian defense forces had anticipated this move by Ukraine, so it was repulsed. Likewise, in the region's development, the region of Bakhmut region or Khorasan or Kharkiv region, what we get the development is that Russian forces had withdrawn. They had retreated for strategic regions, and now they are 1,000 kilometer long. They are fully equipped supply line and defense lines Ukraine lacks the air cover to hit on the targets of Russian front line that are encroached from Ukraine's east as well as southeast regions. So basically, the whole enterprise of Russia to Ukraine was that to have access in the Black Sea, and they don't have the cold water ports, so they wanted to have access for this one and all. So basically, what happens that Ukraine's counter-offensive measure will. The writer says that Ukraine's counter-offensive measures and other means the war thing with Russia will go on for some time now because of election in USA. Joe Biden has prepared himself that he is inevitable for USA and the globe in order to counter Russia. So he putting his candidature again for 2024 and backing Ukraine, and as NATO said that as long as it takes to defeat Russia, Biden says that he is not only inevitable but indispensable to be re-elected. Recently, Fareed Zakaria had interviewed Joe Biden regarding this, and he said that he presented his candidature in full. Although his hardcore fans are skeptical about his age and other things like that. Now we come to one important article that in the editorial section written by C.P. Chandrasekhar. We know the chief, you should be knowing who is the author. C.P. Chandrasekhar, along with Jayati Ghosh and Prabhat Patnaik, they are the JNU economics dons who have regularly written for the Hindu group and the front line, having their own point of view on economic conditions of India, on economic history and development, or you could say the economic policies that are taken by the government. We know that political decisions regarding the prime ministers or the group of ministers, whoever are responsible for taking the economic long-term measures, are always criticized. After independence, it was Nehruvian socialism, Fabian socialism of Nehru had led to large-scale investment in public sector undertakings that are now white elephants, nothing else. And at that time, Bombay Club came to counter for their own independent private fundings and all things like that. This particular article in the Chandrasekhar deals with deals with that rise of big five. That's the big conglomerates like Adani, Ambani, Tata's, Birla, and Tata, Birla, Adani, Ambani, and one more group they have mentioned is, I will come to that one. So it says that basically it's a critical of the Adani's rise, that how it is a debt financed company, heavily debt financed, DEBT, heavily debt financed company, and is, even after the notorious short seller Hindenburg calling rise of Adani as the largest con in the history of corporate world, temporarily damaged its worth, and his position, Adani's position was displaced as the richest person of the Asian world, but still he has managed to cope up, and he is getting further acquisitions, and there is no dearth of funding for his projects. Likewise, it mentions that with the concept of electoral bonds, it has become easy for corporate houses to fund political parties, and now political parties don't need petty election funding from smaller businesses and things like that. So their policies are more so inclined towards the big corporate houses, specific corporate houses. It has a survey done by deputy chairman of deputy governor of RBI, which say that these five houses have gained in disproportionate way their profit margins, whereas others have suffered due to pandemic and recession, Ukraine invasion, on all these things like that. So article wishes to say that government has measures to support those houses and suppress others who try to. There is no voice. They say that civil society, middle classes, or even those business houses who have not yet benefited from these policies are not coming out to protest against the government policies and things like that, due to the fear of agencies that government hold, and it can be utilized against them any moment. So basically it says that it is not good for democracy because they are going to influence the media and civil society, democratic polity, election and everything. So it's a cyclic phenomenon. So India's conglomerates are getting too big for comfort. It says that Reserve Bank. Then progression to state capture, another heading is there, say that. You will read this article carefully in order to understand that how a state work as a catalyst, how a state works as a catalyst in order to safeguard the interest of few selected business houses by various measures and all. So now we move to our next section. That's important section is text and context section. And in today's text and context section, one important article that deals with Rahul Gandhi's conviction, and another one is cloud computing. That's a cloud you, cloud servers basically. Okay. Meanwhile, in a op-ed article, there is an article on architecture that India has not given its due to architecture and design, and it should come forward to have a strong policy, long-term measures, policies taken to enthusiast the imperative of design and architecture in our urban living space. So you will read that article. Now we come to the this text and context section, that's on Rahul Gandhi's conviction. You know, the latest story so far is that Rahul Gandhi, after being denied by Gujarat High Court a stay on his conviction by Sessions Court on the criminal defamation charges of has filed an appeal in Supreme Court of India. Election Commission of India has given certain time to exhaust his resources before before the new election will be announced by them. Now the question, what is the fulcrum of this whole conviction on the criminal defamation charges by Session Court of Gujarat, and finally the conviction, Rahul Gandhi went to Gujarat High Court for a stay on the conviction, and citing Gujarat High Court gave a reason saying that it's a the court immediately denied relief. The court immediately denied relief to the principle that a stay of conviction is not a rule but an exception to be restored in a rare case, and it is not a rare case. They said so. They denied this, and now this article says that what is the fulcrum of the case? Fulcrum of that, while campaigning in Karnataka, Rahul Gandhi said that Rahul Gandhi uttered this thing that he uttered these things that all thieves are having Modi surname. All thieves are having Modi surname. Now the thing is that how does this criminal defamation operate? It operates that if three things are there. If it is a company or a group of person or association of person, that it is, and one important thing that you remember is that in criminal defamation, remember this thing, in criminal defamation the actual harm inflicted or suffering caused is not a condition to continue offence, as intention or knowledge is sufficient. Even intention to harm or knowledge regarding that one is enough. Real harm has happened or not, it's not necessary. So this is very, and you know that criminal defamation comes under the IPC section of 499 and 500. Rahul Gandhi has been convicted under IPC section of 499, and it's one of the Supreme Court's you could say Indian Constitution's article 19 that has declared defamation as one of the exceptions to free speech. Article 19 has declared defamation as an exception to free speech, and this defamation, as I said, that it's not necessary that criminal defamation leads to injury or something like that. Even inclination or knowledge, intention or knowledge is enough to punish, and he has been punished for maximum 2 years tenure. Now this whole thing depends upon that the Modi surname. Why all the thieves are having Modi surname? This Modi word does it constitute group of persons or not? It has to be decided by the Supreme Court now, whether this group of person thing tag is attached with Modi surname word or not, and accordingly it will be decided. But what the High Court of Gujarat cited was that need of the hour to have purity in politics. That was the reason they give that need of the hour is to have purity in politics. That was the reason they say, and they did not give a stay on the Sessions Court conviction of Rahul Gandhi's. So now the writer has given a case study of Muhammad Faisal. Muhammad Faisal was an MP of Lakshadweep, Lakshadweep, UT, and he was under 307. He was convicted for 10 years rigorous imprisonment, and he appealed for Kerala High Court, and Kerala High Court stayed his conviction. Thereby he saved his parliamentary seat. When UT government went to Supreme Court also, but Supreme Court did not give any relief to UT. Thereby Muhammad Faisal's parliamentary seat was recovered for him. So article says that he was punished under 307 and 10 years rigorous punishment, whereas Rahul Gandhi's conviction is of 2 years maximum punishment. Now another reason it cites that election commission itself gradients of criminality. It also goes for that maximum. They have that if a conviction is of this duration, this much time period, then only one can be disqualified or something like that. I read for that one. Even the Representation of People Act 1951 differentiates the gradients of criminality. For incurring disqualification by classification various categories of offences. The offence of defamation steps in only in cases of maximum sentence and hence may deserve differential treatment. Now what will happen in the Supreme Court? It has to be seen. One important observation made by the author is the Supreme Court lawyer, and his observation is that as you know that he has approached the Supreme Court when the High Court decides during the revisional stage. Remember this in listen, it's a important thing. When the High Court decides during a revisional stage a challenge against the appeal court order on application during the pendency of the appeal, the Supreme Court usually does not interfere. It says like that. Okay, but amalgamating the principles of law as described by the Supreme Court in various cases, it is left to the top court to grant indulgence to stay the conviction of this particular case on defamation and disqualification by employing the sweeping powers. Article 136, sweeping powers to do substantive justice under Article 136. So you will watch this whenever it comes to hold, then you will realize. Now we have cloud system configuration could expose sensitive user data. Okay, so what happened? Cloud environment, we know that cloud servers are used for having the sensitive data and all, because it's not possible for all them to have the nearby server. So often it is on overseas or other places, same companies are having their own cloud servers and things like that. Say that sometimes breaches occur. Why do occur? And how to stop this one mechanism. Recently you might have heard of that on a Telegram channel, COVID data came out. Then later on Government of India denied that it had happened from main portal. It was from individuals' mobile phone that it was hacked and did like that. So you know that one body is CERT-in. Okay, that's a Indian Computer Emergency Response. CERT is Computer Emergency Response Team. CERT-in. That's India. Indian. Okay, that's a Indian Computer Emergency Response Team. That's responsible for looking after anything like AIIMS database is hacked or something like that. Then in that case they are being called in to look after the measures to take care of future, how to avoid breaching of data and all. So encryption is there and how to encrypt and things like that, and it shows that various aspects of that what are the difficulties lying and how can be assembled. Then we have another article. As usual, you will read you should know your English in the text context section. It has mentioned about some few that's a ray of sunshine. Ray of sunshine. Someone is ray of sunshine. Hope, big hope. The ray of sunshine has been used. Another one is used is that oyster. World is your oyster. When our students join universities, we say that world is your oyster. Means you don't have to be hoop manduk. You don't have to be very much reduced to your environment. There is a world to explore and go on your own. So this world is your oyster, ray of sunshine. These are like that. They have another word they have used, punctilious. Punctilious word, you know that it is meticulous, very much great detail is gone into it. So, and then we have one important article related to Supreme Court Collegium, that how it has become transparent and what are the measures taken by it to grade the judges and puny judges of the high courts and make them eligible for the Supreme Court and or Chief Justice of the High Court. Recently, there is one lady from the Allahabad High Court who has been appointed as the Chief Justice of Gujarat High Court, a single lady. So, this collegium is looking after that gender, class, different high courts should also be, some high courts are having more representation than other. So, these things into measures, and then how it has become transparent, and governments, the clash with the government with the in the earlier law minister has also subsided. With the new incumbent law minister, things are moving smoothly, and Supreme Court of India's collegium led by CJI Chandrachud has done a wonderful job by making it the charges on the collegium was of that opaque and things like that has been removed and has been made more and more transparent, and things are looking good. Then we have you know that IIT Madras has opened a campus in Tanzania, Zanzibar. That has a lady director has been appointed. Then we have Congress has held a meeting on Informed Civil Code, and they are waiting for draft of it. And then we have one important news for the students is that IIMs, I was not knowing that, but IIMs are also having 5 years integrated courses, IPM. Okay, that's known as IPM courses. It means integrated. It's a just one moment. Give me. It's known as IPM. Okay, and right now what happens? A 5-year integrated course after +2, and what happens that different IIMs are having different admission process. So there that this article says that government is taking measures to make them like CAT and other examinations centralized, single examination, so that they can take admission. Now, finally, world news, we have Russia has sufficient stockpile of cluster bombs. You know it well. Who says? Putin has said. Because you know it very well that America has decided to give Ukraine cluster bombs. You know that cluster bombs are banned in maximum countries, but treaty that bans it is not signed by Russia either, or Ukraine, or America. So USA has given, and now Russia says that they have enough, and it has been used also in Ukrainian battlefields later on. So that's all. Thank you very much for, and please do listen to Hindu and give feedbacks regarding that. What do you wish to have more discussed? Thank you very much.